So whenever you are talking about a variable, it carries data for the particular workflow only. If you want to move or carry data from one workflow to another workflow, arguments comes in existence. But if there are two or three workflows you are passing the data, then you can use arguments. But in the case where you want to use your data in a different project, different processes, same data you want to use, in that case argument is not sufficient. In that case, some different variable type or storage unit types comes in existence, and that is assets. So asset is a global variable which can store different types of data, but in assets we can store only four specific types of data. First one is a normal text data you can store. Then you can store boolean value, true or false, yes or no, like that. Integer value you can also store in asset. Any credentials, because credentials are very crucial and confidential things that you are carrying, that credentials are only stored in a orchestrator asset. Nowhere else asset is stored. So this is a very important global variable which can carry sensitive data. Now we are storing the value in asset, and we are just getting the particular value from asset. How we can extract the value, that we want to see in today's session. Now let me comment this one. In UiPath Orchestrator, you can see in RPA batch, we have a different tabs available here: home, automation, monitoring, queues, asset, storage bucket, etc. So if you want to create asset, you can just click on asset of your folder that is created. In asset, you can find add asset button. Just click on that. There you can see two options: create a new asset or link from other folders. If you want to take your asset from other folders, you can click on link from other folders. But if you want to create new asset, then you can just click on create a new asset. Again, there are two different types of assets, like a single value asset and value per bot asset. If you want to use the asset for the single value for particular process, then you can use single value. If you want to use same asset name for a different environments, in that case you should use value per bot asset. So let us try with the simple thing, that is a let's say we want to extract text value from asset. So for asset name, we can put anyone. So RPA test 1 or RPA test, that is a. So here you can select any type of asset. There are four different types of asset, like text, boolean, integer, and credentials. Now I'm just selecting type text. Name of our asset is a RPA text. Description, you can put this is test asset. Now we are assigning some value to this asset name. So what we are assigning? So RPA is the value that I'm assigning, or hello RPA bot. Any value you can assign, because already we have selected as a type text. You can assign any value. Hello RPA bot, that is value assigned to your RPA test asset. So as already talked to you, add a robot asset value. If you want to have a number of bots and you want to assign different values, then you can use add robot asset value. But most of times we are dealing with the single value. Just create this asset name. Now our asset RPA test is ready to use. So how we can use this asset name in our UiPath Studio? So in UiPath Studio, we can have get asset. If you want to retrieve your asset type like a text, integer, and boolean, so in that case you can use get asset activity. If you want to retrieve username and password or credential types of asset, then get asset is not useful. In that case you should use get credentials asset, get credentials activity. So here I'm just extracting text value, so I'm using get asset activity. So asset name, this you should copy from Orchestrator. Name is RP test. Asset value, you can create any output variable. Yeah, one important thing you should remember, initially there was no any need to put folder name when there was no any modern folder concept. But since in 2021 we have a modern or a folder concepts comes in existence, we should specify the orchestrator folder name here. So what is the name of our folder? RPA batch. So you supposed to give folder name RPA batch. Once again I'm checking. RPA batch, that is our folder name. And we can check whether asset value is getting to us or not by checking, by passing the variable output asset. Let me trigger this bot. Yes. So what is my concern here? My concern is I'm just storing some value to my asset, and that asset value I am retrieving by using this get asset activity. Okay, so whatever the output of get asset we are getting, that is a hello RPA bot that we are retrieving from Orchestrator. Now that is a case of your normal types of value like a text, integer, or boolean. If we want to retrieve credential things, we don't use get asset. That is not able to work out. So we supposed to use different activity that is related to credential. That is a get credential activity. Now, before using this get credential activity, let me tell you what is my requirements. So this is the website of Acme. What I want to do, I want to just click email ID and password here. Whenever you are using credentials, before that we have used get password activity. But if you want to use locally, you can use get password. But in case if you want to use the values from your orchestrator, get password activity is not working. In that case, you should use get credentials, which is the orchestrator activity. So what I want to do, I want to take the user ID and password from orchestrator, and I want to click email ID here, enter email ID here and password, and then log into this Acme website. So to enter the user ID and password, I am creating new asset of type create a new asset, and I am using asset name as a asset acme, and here type I'm selecting as a credentials, acme credentials. Now this is very important, username and password. Whenever you are creating any credentials asset, there you should mention what is username and what is a password. So I am putting here my username and password as whatever I have, and simply create this asset. Any doubts till now? No, sir. Okay. If you have doubts, please raise, because bit if you are going to if you are just seeing first time, you might think this is a little bit deeper, or it may be longer I am explaining, but the concepts, whenever you are going one by one, this is not too much big thing you are dealing.
Sorry, sir, I got disconnected. Can you just revise just 1 minute before what you
Okay.
did?
Okay. uh have you seen how I have created a credential asset?
No, sir.
Okay, let me create once again. So let me add asset, create a new asset, and to create credential type of asset, why I need credential asset? Because I want to log in into the system. If I am using normal get password activity, so in that case that is limited to my particular workflow. But since I want to use this get credential when I want to use same credentials for different different applications. For example, 10 people are working on this acme, okay, and they all peoples want acme credentials. So if I am using in a local workflow, that is not useful. And if I'm storing my asset, that is username and password, in a asset, then all 10 peoples can utilize the same asset. There is no any need to create again and again some get password activity and just enter the password. That is not needed at the time. And if you want to change some of times like credentials I want to change, then you can directly go to the orchestrator and you can change whatever you want to do. So that is also easy. That's why we are using credentials asset. Now my task is I want to enter this user ID here and password here and then click here. So in that case, the credential I should get from asset. That's why I'm creating asset here. So asset here is, I'm just creating newly asset acme portal, and type of asset I should choose is credential, description, acme portal asset. Then username you should put as it is username. In future, if you want to modify that, you also modify, that is allowed. So I'm just putting my username, password, and I'm creating. Now suppose in future my credentials is changed, or I want to update my password, then you can directly edit your password here. Password is not visible second time. If you want to update, then only you can update, but that is not visible. That is the benefit. It is a secure. So this credential get credential activity is used for you in every project. This activity get means whenever you are retrieving user and password, only get credentials or asset of credential is must, mandatory I can say. Let's say you are starting your work tomorrow, and you want to log in into your particular portal. For example, you want to log in into your ERP system. So in that case, you need user ID and password. So to enter user ID and password, don't use get password. You should first create asset of credential, and that credential asset you should use in your studio, whatever activity you want to use. So you should remember these things. For any types of credentials, first create asset and use that asset in your workflow. Okay, so I have created my asset here. Now what I want to do, I want to just log in into my Acme portal and enter the user ID and password there. So let me start with open browser. So to enter your user ID and password, you are generally using, type into activity and then click. So to enter username, password, okay. Now what I want to enter, I want to enter, first thing is a user ID and second one is a password. But how I could get my user ID and password? So for that you should use get credential activity to get your user ID and password from orchestrator asset. So here you should put your asset name. We have created asset as a Acme portal asset. So copy your asset name as it is. Sometimes we may miss spelling. Then here you can find output is password and username. So just use Control K to create your password variable strpwd. Then for username, str user. So these two variables I have created. I think password is not created. Okay, it's created. Just a second. Okay. Now here again, since we are using folder structure, we should specify the path of our orchestrator. Folder name, RPA batch. Now here just use box to check whether our username is getting or not, because if it is not working, our next workflow will not execute. And here just pass the variable str user, str password. Since it is secure string, you just convert to into string. Let's check. Yeah, we are retrieving user ID. Okay, I think password is missed, but you can see user ID and password enter there, right? Understood what is happening there? Any doubts? So I'm taking the credentials from my orchestrator asset and then login into my Acme portal. I think asset value something is not matching my record. Okay, please raise your questions so that we can answer and we can go to the next step.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, is it necessary to use credentials only, asset credentials? Get password activity is not working here.
No, get password would definitely work here, but whenever you are taking credentials for any of the applications, any like SAP application or any ERP application, so in that case it is recommended that you should take the credentials from only get credentials, because sometimes password is changing. Let's see, your password is changing after 30 days. Your SAP password, most of times they are changing after 30 days. So you need to uh, change or update the password. So in that case, if I am using, let's say I'm using get password activity. So in get password activity, what happens? Let's see. In get password activity, I'm just entering password here and creating variable here, correct? So in this
Yes.
studio, UiPath Studio only I'm changing the password. But since our bot is in production, that is deployed in Orchestrator, and I want to change my password. When I'm using get password, what I should do for that scenario? I should download that workflow. That is a process I should download and go in the particular workflow. For example, sequence. This is the sequence. I should go here, go to get password. I should change password here. Then it will work. That is the process to change your password. But if you are using get credential activity, then you can directly go to the orchestrator. Let's say your password is changing. So you can directly go here and only you need to update your password. Means you can directly go to your password section. You can just put here. If you want to confirm, then you just visible that. Just update. It is updated and your bot will continually work. There will not be any lagging. There will not be any mismatch. But get password is not working where you are deploying your bot in production and you want to change that password. For security reasons, every 30 days or 60 days, your passwords are updating in IT. They are not keeping the same password for whole year. They are updating every month. That's why
Okay, sir.
get credentials are used.
Hmm.
Okay. Any other doubts? If you are
Sir, I
asking,
just want to know what are the other things? Let us say this is the credential things which are keeping we are keeping in the asset. What are the other things that that are the content of these assets?
okay.
Like let's say text you are mentioning. So what kind of text we are referring in the corporate world?
Whenever we have to store the folder path, whenever we want to store the folder path, so in that case, this text activity is used. For example, we need to store 10 different we need to create 10 different folders in 10 different files in particular folders. So in that case, folder path we can create by using this text. Then there are certain things. For example, if we want to store specific information, that means organization's detail, like a directory, dictionary. So that also you can store dictionary path, that you can store in this by using text. So that is first type of text, first type of asset. There are also boolean means when you, this is rarely used boolean value. Boolean means only you have choice, like it is true or false, it is positive or negative. That is the case you can store, but generally most of times you are using these credentials in priority and text. This boolean and integer are rarely used. Okay, may I
Okay,
answer?
sir.
Fine. Any other doubts or anything you want to get more from this orchestrator? Because today again we have one more session related to orchestrator, but until unless you are not good with this, whatever the contents today we have covered, there is no any point to go to the next some other points.
Sir, one more regarding this orchestrator.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I just in previous week I have deployed one bot just
Mm-hmm.
to get the scrap data from a dynamic website. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I have triggered that for let us say after 1 hour, which was the data they are reflecting or refreshing the page. I
Mm-hmm.
want to get that scrap data, but I was unable to get that file which is there. I made a result data folder. In
Okay.
that, I made an Excel sheet, but
Okay.
I was unable to get that. So meanwhile, today I will go through that the same. But
Mm-hmm.
if not, please can you prepare one process so that we can get that access, whether it is overwriting that file or it is making duplicate files with renaming the same. We just want to confirm that.
So you are extracting data from website and that is storing in Excel, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So whenever you are extracting the data, you are specifying some file name, and there is some option like overwrite or any. If you are doing in Excel, then there may have option what you are doing. We are selecting every time, or just overwriting there. That I think you can find there. Can you show me what is happening there?
Mm,
Visually, it will.
not right now,
It,
actually.
okay.
I
Okay.
will
Actually,
share you tomorrow.
okay. Okay. No issues, because until and unless we are not finding what is happening there, it's difficult to find out cause.
Because what happening, the client wants the updated data. Let us say for today, tomorrow, for a week, he wants the data. What
Mhm.
are the updations are there? So in that case study, I was doing that work.
Okay, if you are replacing the same, because most of times if you are saving the data, so most of times it is replacing the data. If you are using move file, so in that case we have option, if you want to overwrite or you want to keep newer version. So if you are moving that file, then you can have that option, but I'm not sure you are using moving file or you are just writing, or what is the, because if you are putting right range activity and putting the name of the particular file, then same file will be there. There will not be different file. Maybe there are different versions of that file.
Okay. Meanwhile, I just forget something. So I will just get it confirmed and I will let you.
Yeah, sure. That would be better.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Any other doubts? No worries. Any other participants, those are stuck in initial setting, connecting bot to Orchestrator Studio. This is a new GUI of our Orchestrator. You might stuck in folder activity. You might stuck navigation, how to navigate from one to another. Tomorrow I'll just concentrate on this queues concept. Queue is very crucial in concern with RE framework, in concern with interview point of view, in concern with overall RPA structure. So this is a very important concept when you are studying AI path. So let me confirm you are good with all these things. If you are good, then we can just wind up today's session. I think all you are good.
It's okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Yeah, let's catch up tomorrow. Bye bye.
Hello, sir.
Yes, yes, yes.
Sir, tomorrow is having NEET examination, so please means confirm the timing early in the morning or in evening.
So which time is good for you?
Um,
Morning?
ask to all people, sir.
No, you which time you are good, so that we can just ask others also.
Okay. Morning, sir, 7 to 9, or evening 7:30 to onwards.
Okay, morning 7 to 9. How many are how many of you are comfortable? Mayur, are you comfortable? I don't bother
Yes, sir.
about time. Khadar, what do you think?
Yes, sir, I am comfortable.
7 to 9 morning.
Yes,
Yes, I think yes, Mayur, you are good, no?
Yes, sir.
Other,
I am comfortable.
sure. No worries. Then we can catch up tomorrow at morning 7. Most of people are ready.
Okay, sir.
Sure. Thank you. Bye bye.
Okay.